Good evening, everyone.
Amen.
Welcome to the Masterclass. We're few in number to start with, but I can assure you by the time we finish, this place will be filled. But before we go any further, I just want to just take us through some housekeeping rules. We're not expecting any fire tonight, but should the fire alarm go off, we'd just like to ask you to just proceed to the back of the hall. There are two exits to your left and to your right, and there are two exits at the bottom here to my left and to my right, which is your left and your right. Okay. Now, when you proceed through the doors, there will be stewards and wardens around to escort you to where you should go. But failing that, follow any fire exit sign. Go down the stairs if you're going down through the back doors, and make your way through to the main entrance. And the assembly point is a grass area on the right-hand side of the building. Toilets are located on the other side of the building. Again, our champions with the Masterclass t-shirts will guide you to where the toilets are. Now, with respect to the toilet, we've started now, so we're hoping that should you want to use the toilets, please make your way towards the back of the hall, and our champions will take you through that. Now, this is a no smoking building, so there's no smoking permitted anywhere in the building. And at this point, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank you all for coming. Thank John Moores University for allowing us to use their magnificent lecture theatre. Truly, without the support of John Moores, this event would not have been possible. Now, just pardon me while I step aside now, and we'll show you a brief video about what the Masterclass is all about.
University students, recent graduates, and new professionals who are high achievers and experts from various sectors. Can you imagine hundreds of people in the same room, networking and sharing ideas that will ignite their passion? Whether it's in engineering, business, technology, sports, performing arts, and other disciplines. Too many students embark on their university experience with a simple expectation to graduate with a degree, get a job, and be normal. But at the Masterclass, we believe that no is not good enough. We don't want you to be average. You don't want to be average. We want you to fulfill your full potential so you will be challenged, inspired, and developed. #Made for More.
Made for more. And hopefully that's the message that we're looking to convey to you tonight through our distinguished speakers. And now you're probably thinking, what is the Masterclass? Why am I here? I was walking down the street, minding my own business, and all of a sudden a couple of guys in a t-shirt, a couple of ladies in a t-shirt comes up to me and gives me a flyer. There's a Masterclass event happening tonight or next week, and here I am. How many of us have actually been to a Masterclass event before? If you've been to a Masterclass, let me see your hands. If you've been to an event before, a few hands, excellent. And how many of you are coming for the very first time? Excellent. We're really, really good to see you. We're really happy to have you here. So the aim of the Masterclass, as explained in that video, is to build a platform for students, young adults to kind of connect with experts, professionals, high achievers who have a passion for what they do and have a story behind that passion. And the hope is that as they share their story and their passion, you too will be filled with a passion to actually be who you want to be. And to help us to achieve this, there are three things in the Masterclass. There are three fundamental pillars that we believe in, our core principles. Is that the life that we live, the world that we live in, it is a tough one. It is a tough one, and you need to be primed for success. You need to believe that you are made for more. You are above average. And how many of us really believe that, I'm more than average? So few hands. I'm sure every single one of you who are made for more. You're more than average. The second thing we also believe in is that your journey in academia, your journey in university, doesn't just end at 9 to 5. There's more for you to offer. There's more that you can offer. So we believe that your life through university is an enabler. It's an enabler for you to become who you truly are. And the third fundamental pillar that we believe in the Masterclass, okay? It will work. Well, the next third thing we believe is that every single one of us here have the potential to be great. We have the potential to be awesome. We have the potential actually to be who we are, to be the best at what we do. But the most important thing is you have to develop yourself. In order to achieve and aspire to where you want to be, you have to develop yourself. Developing yourself is important. So those are the three main core pillars that we believe in the Masterclass. And for some of you who've been here before, who've been to our events before, there was going to be pictures I was going to show you. Joseph, can you help me with the flicker? Excellent. So these are the pictures from our previous event, our last event in February, and it was great. It was absolutely awesome. And to connect this, it's not just the pictures. I mean, the pictures say, they say pictures speaks 1,000 words. But I'll let you read for yourself what some of our delegates have actually said that have attended the Masterclass in February and the one we did last September. Okay, it's not working for me, but Vicky from Canada, she actually she watched the event live via stream. She said, I watched it last night and it was like the speakers were speaking specifically to me. This is such an awesome platform. Bala said, honestly, I appreciate the concept of the Masterclass. It was an amazing experience meeting your team and speakers. It was honestly motivational and a life-changing experience. And Jamie also said, I had a great time at the Masterclass. It was just what I was looking for. The opportunity to meet with experienced people, hear their stories, ask questions, and discuss my ideas was amazing. I love what you guys are doing. I think there are so many people who don't realize that they can achieve great things. The Masterclass certainly helped me to achieve that. And later at the end, we'll be hearing from Jamie, who will also, give you his experience of the Masterclass and what has happened to him since then. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our very first distinguished speaker tonight. After graduating at the university with an honors, a bachelor's degree in marketing from our very own John Moores University, she went on to have a successful career in the drinks industry, working with global brand Penrod Richard and Brewdog. Emily has a passion to start her own company, and in 2016 she took the plunge and Fitch Brew Co. was born. After successfully crowdfunding, Fitch Brew Co. officially launched in summer of 2017, and her products are now stocked in over 100 venues around the UK, and she has now begun exporting to the likes of Ireland, Finland, and even Bermuda. I tell you what, if there's a product in Bermuda, there's no limits. There's no limits to where that brew is going to reach. Please join me in welcoming Emily. Emily Fisher.
Hey everybody, it's so nice to see you all here. It's really great for me to be back. I actually haven't really been back to the university too much since I left. Just been out exploring the world a little bit, but it's really nice to come and see how much John Moores has really expanded. And let me tell you, the lecture theatres did not look like this when I was at university. It was a bit wonky, to say the least. But yeah, it's really good to be back and see all of you guys clearly wanting to be inspired and motivated to do something with your futures. And I definitely didn't know what I wanted to do at university. I studied a marketing degree, but I was like, I'm going to do something with a business and kind of work experience and in business and marketing, but what I wanted to do and the route I wanted to go down, I really wasn't sure. And I think that's probably what a lot of you might be in a similar boat, so don't worry if you're not 100% sure what you want to do in life yet. So a little bit about me and about my company. If you've not heard of Fitch Brew Co, which a lot of you might not know because we're only a year old, we are a coffee brewery on a mission to challenge people's perceptions about what you can do with coffee. So when we were trying to flip it on its head and move away from these traditional kind of hot coffees with like notes and sugars and be like, there's actually so much more that you can do with coffee as a product. So we started brewing in big beer tanks and kind of adding lots of different gases to it, making kind of nitrogen-infused cold brews and sparkling flavoured cans of products, and just really kind of challenging the norm of what you can do with coffee. But this was definitely kind of came about over quite a few years of kind of trying to define what it was that I wanted to do with my business, and it's kind of been an exciting journey, but it's definitely been a challenging journey. So like I said, I started off at uni doing a beer honours in marketing. It was whilst I was at uni that I kind of started working with Corona, the big beer company, and I was doing events with them, and it was kind of a really great insight into the drinks industry, which I ended up absolutely falling in love with. The people that work in the industry, the brands, the engagement with brands, with consumers, and how they operate in bars and kind of restaurants and in retail space, just all really excited me. And it was when I started working with Corona that I was like, I think this is the kind of route I want to start going down and kind of find my passion within that. So when I left uni, I made it a real point to get a role and kind of experience the drinks industry a little bit more, and that's when I started work at Pernod Ricard, who are the big brand owners of the likes of Absolute Vodka, Havana Rum, Jameson Whiskey, Malibu. So that was a big kind of FMCG company, and it was so great to kind of go in and learn the roots of how that company's work and kind of the structures and processes with a company like that. And I started in sales and marketing, and I was looking after accounts in central London and just really learning the ground up. Still at that point, had this kind of inside me, really still wanted to do my own business, but I wasn't just going to kind of jump into it at that point and just do a random business. I knew there was still a little while for me to go to learn exactly what it was that I wanted to do. So I worked at Pernod for a little while and then ended up going to Brewdog, the big beer company, again in kind of more kind of account management sales roles. And it was whilst I was at Brewdog that, because they're a bit more of a start-up kind of company who are really kind of passionate and driven about what they're doing, I kind of got that bug even more to kind of go off and be like, I still really want to start up my own company. And it was whilst I was out in America that ta-da moment happened, and I tried cold brew, which is just massive out in America. Like literally people put it straight into an IV drip and put it into their arms. I think they're just coffee lovers. And I tried one and I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do, and I want to take this concept back to the UK and kind of create my own company out of it and think there was something that was really kind of unique and exciting I could do with it. And I came back and I remember just quitting my job. No idea how to actually make coffee or make the product I was doing or to run a business, but I was like, I'm going to do it, and so I quit. And then 6 months later, I kind of built a business plan. I'd met kind of a business partners who I'd work with and put together like a real concept of what it was going to be all about and how the product would look and all of that side of it. And realised quite quickly that I didn't actually have any money to put into it to buy any of the equipment that I needed. So I was like, right, I need to now raise finance and raise funding. So I took to Crowdcube, which is this like online equity platform. and we ended up doing a run where we raised £150,000 in 29 hours, which was absolutely amazing, and closed our round. And it took a couple of months for the money to get through, so that was back in February last year. And then we launched in the summer of last year, and it's been an absolute whirlwind, and it's been an awesome journey, but completely crazy on a day-to-day basis. But now we're here, so we work with global brand leaders now, like Absolute, Fever Tree, Taylor and working with them on events and collaboration projects. And we're now listed in the likes of Sony Music, Spotify, Google in London, where we're working with NUS and Giraffe World Kitchens and Stonegate Pub Company, and we're now starting the conversation with the likes of Asda and Tesco and exporting. So it's been a year of quite literally just craziness, and I've kind of grew a few more grey hairs in the matter, but it's incredible what you can really achieve if you just put your mind to something and just say, actually, I'm just going to go and do it and see where it takes me. Because my thought this entire time has been like, if it doesn't work out, then I'll just go back to one of these drinks companies and kind of have a career doing that again, because I still enjoyed that, but that's not going to go away. And neither is your passion to try something. So my recommendation is to just try it and see where you end up. Like I said, the road to success will 100% not be easy. There's definitely been times where on a daily basis, where I'm like, what am I doing? This is crazy, and I'm exhausted, and things keep going wrong. But you get that odd moment, that odd spark, where you're like, this is great, something great has happened, and that'll just keep you going. But to give you an idea, this was me opening last year. We did a production run, and it didn't go as planned, and the product didn't work properly, and I ended up having to sit on the side of the street and open 10,000 cans and dump them down the drain and put them into a skip. And things like this will happen when you start a business, whether it be a service or a product or whatever you end up doing. There'll be things that happen that test you, and you're just like, I'm done. I don't want to participate in this anymore. But if you just keep going and you just keep persevering, then great things will happen. And for me, three things that I've really learned on this journey has been, there's what I call the 3 Ps of success that you cannot have a business without, is 100% people. Not just, if you're the only person starting the company, it's not just yourself, but your network of people around you, your team. Like, you need to have that complete trust in one another, and you have to have great people surrounding you to make a business work, and you need to be inspiring them. Perseverance, like I've said, you just need to be able to have that ability to keep going no matter what happens. And passion, don't just do something because you think you should do it, do something because you love it. It won't work otherwise, because when days like that happen to me, if you don't love what you do, you'll quit. You'll 100% quit. So make sure that you do something because you love doing it, or just don't do it at all. A few other kind of things that I think you need when you're kind of starting a company is 100% commitment. I think a lot of people sometimes start their business on the side of something that they're doing, and sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes I think you need to still continue to work, to earn money whilst you're starting something, but it will get to a point where you need to put 100% of yourself into the business to make it work, and that will come from you when you think it can work or not. Creativity is 100% needs to be done. Not just creativity in terms of being able to come up with nice digital marketing images and things like that, but being able to think outside the box with things like finance, because you are going to have a very low budget to be able to do things with. How can you creatively work around that and creatively just do other parts of the business? Just the energy and drive, and massively openness in being able to adapt what you're doing, and kind of always have that dream and that one goal, but being able to kind of wiggle around it to get to where you want to be is super important. And being imperfect, like, it's not going to go right. Don't ever try and achieve perfection because it doesn't exist. Definitely just be okay with not being okay is what I would say, because it's hard. But if you learn to be okay with yourself and be okay with not being okay, you'll get past everything that comes at you. I've got just to finish off with me, I've got a really quick video of, this was actually shot a few months back, so we've actually moved facility since, but it gives you a little bit of idea about Pitch of the company and kind of what we're about, and it's a bit of fun. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to chatting to you guys afterwards, and there's going to be some incredible speakers after me, so yeah, thanks for having me, and on to it.
Say hello to the other side. Hanging out with the fireflies.
When we say whatever it takes, we don't mean tread on everyone on your way to the top. We mean whatever it takes for you to become better. Whatever it takes for you to put in the hours you have to put in to make it wherever you must get to. Whatever it takes in the things you must learn, the books you must read, the education, the mentors. Whatever it takes for you to become the person you need to become to achieve your goals. To someone with a strong mindset, whatever it takes means if I have to rise at 3 a.m. to get something I need to get done, I will do that. If I have to be disciplined in the kitchen and educate myself on what to put in my body so I can increase my energy level and require less sleep, whatever it takes, I will do that. If I have to remove all negative influences from my life, including social media, including TV, whatever it takes, I will do that. If I have to spend 6 months educating myself for hours a day, 7 days a week for a better life in the long term, whatever it takes, I will do that. All of these things no one else is willing to do, I will do that.
Visualize yourself at the finish line and your definition of success, and do whatever it takes to get there. There's only 3 words you need to carry with you: whatever it takes.
Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Hi, my name's Sam. I'm a co-founder of the Masterclass, and it's just a pleasure to be here tonight with everybody. And I just want to remind everybody about the fact that at the end of today's event, all our speakers are going to stick around with us today. So over some food, you'll have the chance to network, speak to each other, and also speak to the speakers, ask them any questions. At the end of the event, actually today, there'll be a little bit of a panel, and you can ask them questions before we network, but then you'll be, maybe if you're a little bit shy to ask a question in front of everybody, there will be the opportunity for you to network one-on-one, get really up close and personal with the speakers, and ask them any questions about the keys to their success or anything else that you want to discuss with them. How's that sound? All right, yeah? Right, so I'm really excited to introduce our next speaker this evening. We're so lucky to have her here with us. She is the trustee of the Anthony Walker Foundation, and she's also a fellow here at our very own Liverpool John Moores University. I'm really excited to welcome Dominique Walker. Oh, so we'll just check because we're quite close together.
Yeah, I'll move back. Hi everyone. My voice is usually low, so I'm not used to the amplification.
Right, so can everyone hear us okay? Fantastic. So first of all, I just want to ask Dominique, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, a bit about your background, what's been your journey so far?
Okay, so my name's Dominique. I grew up about 10 miles away from here, so in Huyton. I don't know if many people are from the Liverpool sort of area, but I grew up in Huyton. One of six. And for me, growing up in Huyton, quite a predominantly white area, being one of the only black families that live there. If you didn't know me, you'd know Angela. If you didn't know Angela, you know Anthony. If you didn't know Anthony, you know Daniel, so on and so forth. There was enough of us, so you'd know us. So I grew up in the Huyton area. I'm sort of skipping like 25 years, but in relation to how I'm sort of sat here today, is I'm a mum of two, and I'm a trainee detective with Merseyside Police, and I've been in the police for 10 years. I work in the CID and investigations, so criminal investigations department. So
we all need to be on our best behaviour?
No, not really. No, honestly, no. I'm never on my best behaviour, son, like ever. But yeah, if you want to behave. But basically, yeah, I've worked as a trainee detective, and I say trainee because I'll get to why I'm a trainee and not a certified detective, because it takes a long time to get to that place. But I have worked in the CID for the last 5 years or so. Yeah. I've been a police officer for 10. In relation to how it relates to John Moores, I used to study here. I did my first degree, number one, in 2005 to 2008. I did a media studies degree. It was media and cultural studies because I actually wanted to be a producer.
Oh, right.
I wanted to make films. I studied, did quite well, got 2-1. And then my first job, so in my final year I decided, right, I need to obviously get a job. What I didn't tell you and what I've sort of missed is that I had a daughter as well, so my daughter's 15 next year. Yeah, I don't look young.
She doesn't look like she's got 15.
I know. My daughter's 15, so I had a 1-year-old at the time. So going back was was in my final year and was like, you know what, like I've messed about for 3 years, I obviously need to get a job, and I applied for different trainee and researcher sort of roles because I wanted to be a producer. So what I did was apply for everything and I got ITV. So I worked at ITV in 2008, so it was my first job out of uni, and what I did was apply for roles that suited my capabilities, what I was interested in, and also it was a BME trainee researcher scheme, which ITV probably will not do ever again after what we did, but no, I'm joking, but there were schemes that were running then. And I applied for that, got into ITV, worked Granada Reports, Party People, different documentaries. Jeremy Kyle was my last job where I worked.
Jeremy Kyle.
Yeah. People always ask if we worked, but that's where I worked. And I worked on the Tonight Show, which was a factual. So I worked between factual and entertainment, so I flitted between the two.
Wow.
I think in terms of that, having that opportunity, I had at that time no aspiration to join the police. I come from a Caribbean family. I'm Jamaican. If you know Jamaican people, our relationship is not always great with the police, and that is just being completely honest. Now, where my mum's from in Jamaica, my mum and dad are from the same place. My mum and dad are from St. Thomas. Completely different viewpoints in terms of the police, completely different. And obviously I'm aware of the relationship with black people in the police and the community, but obviously at a young age, so I'm flitting between different ages, but going back to being a child, I thought the police were there to obviously protect us and take care of us and do the job that they're supposed to do, and so on and so forth. And I think I told my mum at 7 that I wanted to be a police officer, but the reason why I told her I wanted to be a police officer, and I remember this, was because we had people being racist to us, so I wanted to obviously do something, and not just beat them up, which is what I did. My sister's up there, she'll testify to that. I don't advocate violence, but, you know, sometimes. But anyway. But I thought if I was a police officer that I could actually do something and like, you know, stop them sort of thing, and that's sort of it. But it was sort of discarded by my dad. My dad was he's a proud Jamaican man. He's like, I think what he said, my first job that I should do was to be a waitress. And I was like, well, I'm good at that. I am good at cooking and bringing the stuff in, and I could see where that come from, but I was like, I think I am destined for more. So going back to uni is I applied for things within the media environment that I thought suited me, but once I got there, and I thought, you know what, I've made it, like this is it. No, it wasn't.
So like ITV, Bernard Reports, Jeremy Kyle, like to a lot of people that sounds already like home is right, like so it's this is the goal, this is the aspiration. But then what really informed that decision to join the police ultimately? So obviously when you were 7, it was for like different reasons you wanted to join, like sort of thought it would be good to be in the police, people being racist, you can sort of counter that, like beyond beating them up. But what eventually actually informed like the serious decision to join the police?
Well, it's now I'd say it's a funny story, but it's a number of different things. So I'll go through the most past incident. When we obviously grew up in Huyton, like I said, you know, I expressed an interest but never was involved. I spent a lot of my teen years doing what teenagers do, which is mess about, get chased by the police for doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing, getting moved on from places, which is a heightened sort of, it was quite an into the community. Trying to hide things from my mum, so the police didn't end up at the door. Now that doesn't mean I was doing anything, I was just being naughty and doing things that I shouldn't be doing with a group of friends that I was with. So there was that, and then so it just never correlated with the type of person that I was and the type of personality that I thought I expressed. And I also felt my own development. How would I, as a black person in a predominantly white space, and it is a predominantly white space and still is today, navigate and become successful in that? I just thought, you know what, it's just not going to happen. And I completely, obviously, poo-pooed the idea, man, and say, poo-pooed the idea, and I was like, that's not going to happen. And then in 2005, my brother was killed in a racist attack in Huyton. My brother was in an interracial relationship, was with his girlfriend and his cousin. They were walking, attacked, and then my brother died the following morning, and that was July 2005. So that completely changed everything. It changed, obviously, in terms of the trauma that you'd suffer from losing somebody, so that completely changed the dynamics of how I was. Now, I explained I'm one of 6, so we come in 2s. So Angela and Daniel were the youngest, me and Anthony were the middle, Don and Stephanie the top, so I'm missing my my two. I'm missing my, and we were 18 months apart, so very close. Before he died, we were planning to go to Miami.
Wow.
We discussed, my sister, we discussed about going to Miami because we were coming of age and so on and so forth. And at that time, I was 20. My daughter was just coming up to her first birthday.
Wow.
So my brother's lives, and obviously as you would be, it's your sibling. We're closer than, I'd say closer than blood.
Yeah.
That's how we were. So when that happened, everything flipped. And in terms of me now, the person probably who you would have met back then at 18, 19, and the person that you meet now, a completely different person. And that's not just because of the incident, but that's just everything that has happened. Having to grow up and understand things very, very quick. Being a mum, a single mum, which I am now, which I wasn't at that time. So there's been a number of different things. And then the world of work almost comes on top of that as well, and you have to sort of navigate that, and also your own maturity as well. So losing my brother changed completely everything in terms of where I was going, in terms of my life path. And it does come to the police, it does relate, I promise you, and what it was that I wanted to achieve. So when my brother did die, there was a massive, obviously, outpouring of grief. My mum didn't speak for 2 weeks.
Wow.
She didn't speak. She just didn't speak. She was. She couldn't speak. There's nothing really I can say in relation to that other than she couldn't speak. So my brothers and sisters who were left, so the five of us who were left, had to sort of navigate and almost become mum and dad, because mum and dad had checked out. And I think in some ways, my dad passed away last month, August.
So
in some ways, yeah, I think losing my brother, speeding that process, and that's me almost a month on, still trying to process the trauma related to that, and so on and so forth. So when Anthony died, me just being me and thinking, you know what, I'm in the community, I know everybody from here, someone will tell me what I want, someone will tell me what happened in relation to my brother. So I went on a walk, I took my cousin, he was with my brother on the night, and I told my cousin, sorry, Auntie probably was with me, take me where you walked, and he did, he took me on the walk, so we walked, spoke to police officers, and then eventually, it's not to say I discovered and cracked the case, because I don't think I did, and I wouldn't give credit to the police at all. But I did speak to people, and people did tell me who the potential people were. And again, Highton, if people don't realise, quite insular community. A lot of people are related. A lot of people know each other. Still similar in that way now. And it sort of obviously launched a police investigation and stuff like that. And because of that, and almost investigative skills without knowing that it's because I'm an investigator now, so I know that that's what we do, and I didn't realise that was what we would do. But anyway, it must be, and I'm a woman of faith, so it must be. So do you know what I mean? So it must be in relation to that as well. It is almost like my brother was with me, and it was almost as, I wouldn't say therapy, because I would advocate therapy in my circumstance, and any sort of loss I would advocate that people take therapy, definitely, because you can't do this on your own strength, even in relation to obviously expiring and going for your own dreams and so on and so forth. You can't do it alone, and that's even if you're not of faith. You need people around you in order to inspire you, to uplift you, and so on and so forth. So then it started a police investigation, and I met the investigation teams, and basically my mum's, when she finally did start to speak, her rhetoric was, she won't be Miss Lawrence again, and that was it. And that was the mantra that we sort of went with. Now, justice is not achieved. You can't just, unfortunately, it's not just
manufacture it.
You can't just grasp it. It's something that, especially as people of colour, that we have to learn how to fight for, and we shouldn't have to, but that's how it is. It's just standard. And I think when we talk about loss, a lot of people of colour, black people, can relate because they're like, well, yeah, I've got such and such and such and such, and it's not to diminish and say that mine's any greater than your loss. It's just to say that a lot of my own loss and the loss of my brother has informed what I do, hence obviously why I'm here today. So then police investigation started. I actually met my boss. So my boss today, I went in and met him. He was one of the investigating officers. Mental. So the department that I work in now, I met them 10 years before, and now I work. So again, divine, and it's all a bit. So in terms of investigation, obviously went to court and stuff like that, and just being around police officers in general. I went to a meeting. And I was asked to do a lot of public speaking in relation to hate crime and so on and so forth. And I was asked by various reporters if I forgive. And as a Christian, we are taught 70 times 7 that we must forgive. That's it. You know, up, down, left. No, that's what the word says. And that's what we do. That's it. Even though I knew the people growing up, and I knew who they were. I played with them from birth. One of them gets out next year. It's tough. So in terms of when I say forgive, and when I say to almost process and how you move on, it's a daily process. It's something you work through and get through every day. So in terms of police, and I'll fast forward to ITV, Jeremy Kyle was sat on my desk. Don't ask. But my guy was sat at my desk talking to me, and we were just chatting about different things. He kept asking if my mum would come on. I kept telling him, no, she's not coming on. And then I was asked to develop a programme on police officers. Now, all the stuff that I'd done before, and I'd sort of helped set up the charity, which we'll go into later, the Anthony Walker Foundation. I'd done a little bit of public speaking and didn't think I was any sort of good at it, so you'll have to tell me if I'm any good when I finish. But I just thought, because of what I'd been through and the experience, and because I felt like I'm just a working class girl from Highton, do you know what I mean? And something's happened to me, and I've sort of not even turned it around. I've just felt like I needed to use it to do something positive for other people. So the foundation was born out of one of the few words that my mum sort of come out with, which was change, positive change and forgiveness, and but again, it's something that I don't advocate works for everybody. Even though as a Christian woman, you know, it probably pains me to say that through gritted teeth, but it's not for everybody, because everybody has different journeys, and that must be respected in that in that entirety. So in terms of the police, I was asked to develop a program about how you join the police, and I sort of went about and I thought, I could do that. And it was literally as easy as that. I just thought, you know what, I've got a child who's, at that time, she was 5, and I was like, you know, I could do that, but I still had all the reservations and stuff in my mind, because I did want to be a producer, I did want to create, I did want to do these things, and I thought, did that align with a lot of the things? And if we go on to a lot of my story, is the police have allowed me to do that, and I don't think it's just because of Anthony. I wouldn't put it just down to that. I think sometimes I am actually good at what I do. I am actually a good investigator. I think I am creative. I think I am intelligent. I think I am articulate. And that's not me being big-headed. It's just me knowing that I'm good at my job. I'm good at what I do. I'm good at setting up things. I'm a visionary. Do you know what I mean? It's me. But that took, for me to get, I'm 33, for me to get to that, it took a lot of sweat, tears, perspiration, loss, devastation, you know, fight. I'm literally battle ready. And then I found that it comes in useful with the job. So.
Honestly, I mean, it's that's so true, and I think, I mean, the idea tonight is that, I mean, this story that you've got is just incredibly, like, powerful and moving as well. will inspire somebody else to get to that point as well, to be able to say exactly what you've just said, because that's so profound and so critical and so key to becoming successful eventually.
I think we've got to be realistic.
Yeah.
You've got to be, whatever it is that you aspire to do or want to do, you need to be realistic. Do you know what I mean? And it's obviously got to fit. And I think, I was going to sort of leave this to the end, but I think everybody has a purpose. So every single person has a purpose. And I don't know if it's biblical or something that my mum told me. I don't know. But everybody's got a purpose, and it's about finding that and doing that to the best of your ability, whatever it may be. So it could be you're a teacher. It could be you're a police officer, it could be you're a fireman, it could be that you're a mom, it could be that you're a father, and that's the best thing that you can do. But do you know what I mean? It's about harnessing whatever it is that you're good at and almost polishing it off and just going, you know what, that is what I'm hot at, and that is what I'm going to continue to strive to do.
Yeah, that's incredible. Honestly,
I hope I haven't lost you for words, Sam. Sounds like words.
I am a little bit speechless, to be honest. Just to finish off, can you tell us a little bit about some of the work that you do at the Anthony Walker Foundation in the community?
The foundation obviously was set up in 2006. We work to promote racial harmony in the community through education, music and sport. That's basically what we do. We have a hate crime support service, so if you've ever been a victim of hate crime, more than likely you've probably been contacted by my charity. I'll say my charity, my family's charity. You would have been contacted by myself, because I work in the CID and inform of a lot of the referrals and support that AWF does for victims of hate crime. So it's that. So we also do community engagement, outreach. I do events like this where I speak about the stuff that I've done. We've got a website as well. We're always looking for volunteers to help us do different events. And then every year we do a basketball tournament to celebrate the things that Anthony loved. Anthony loved basketball, he loved education, sports and the art. It's all things that he, as a youth worker, which is what he was, but he wanted to go on to be a lawyer. It was all the things that he wanted to do, so we've almost carried it on through him and through the work that he started. Because I remember when he was a youth worker, I was just like, Chad, I'm not doing that, no. And he was the one who was like, you know what, we've got to obviously put back in the community, we've got to do this work. And he wasn't perfect. My mum portrays him like he was perfect. No, he wasn't. He was my brother. He was my brother. He wasn't perfect. Not at all. But he was different and did have dreams and aspirations, and there was things that I know the foundation have allowed to obviously live through him. So we've had, like, one of my friends who was one of our ambassadors has gone on and just started his pupillage in exchange chambers, and he was one of our early recruits and volunteers. He helped us set up different things, and we've mentored him up until the point where he's going to become a barrister soon. Like, literally in the next couple of weeks he's going to be a barrister. That's through the work and the vision and the drive that we sort of had as a family to turn something so terrible, so traumatic, so devastating into something a little bit more positive, and also to help black men as well. Which is also important. They need mentors, they need guidance, they need support, and it doesn't always have to be from black females. It doesn't, you know. But obviously, I'm your kin, so I should be able to help you. But we know not all kinfolk are skin folk. We know not all kinfolk are skin folk in that respect. But you do need support and guidance. And one of the things I notice is through the foundation is because we helped a lot of boys. I'm thinking, what about the girls? I've got 2 girls, and I got myself, you know. So I've set up another organisation called the Goddess Project, which has been created to inspire, develop, and support black women and women of colour to do the things that they want to do, and no matter what it is, we will support them in the things that they want to do as well. Because I think what happens a lot of the time is with anti-racism charities, it's not intersectional enough, so it doesn't cover the fact that I'm a woman and I'm black as well. You know, it doesn't always cover that. It covers the 5 strands, and that is basically it. So what we've set about to do is obviously address that, and also to support alongside the foundation a lot of the work that women do that isn't valued and isn't appreciated and isn't taken forward. There is other bits to me. There's more. There's more. It's like, how did you become a detective and some of the, but yeah. So that's in short.
Well, I'm sure people will be more than keen, like in the question and answer time and during the networking at the end, to really close ranks and get even more of this amazing story. I mean, because I think there's lots to learn from it. Like, finally, if there's one thing you could say, like a parting message that you could leave with all our attendees today, one sort of message, a final, like, sort of goodbye message to them, what would it be?
I think it would be, there's only one you. At the end of the day, there's only one you, so there's only one you that can do the things that you do, the way that you do them. So if that's the case, then that means whatever it is that you want to do is special and unique. It might not be completely different from what other people do, but it is special and unique to you.
Yeah.
So it's about understanding that you are something, and more than something in a lot of respects.
Yeah.
And it's about harnessing that and almost nurturing and self-loving that belief that you can do whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
For me, it's whatever I want to do. So I start a PhD next month. I've got 2 kids. I work a full-time job with Merseyside Police. How am I doing that? But because the things that I want to do, I just say, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. And I've got support in terms of family and friends. I do have a good support system in that respect, who don't say, "My child, you can't do that." I'm like, no. Even if they do say that, I'm just going to do it anyway. Because at the end of the day, there are I can't say the word, obstacles.
Yeah.
There are. I'm not being neoliberal in the concept that, you know, if you work hard, there's going to be no, you know, you're going to be able to. No, let's be realistic.
Yeah.
There are of course going to be obstacles, but at the end of the day, if you have the foresight that, okay, there are these things in the way, you know, in terms of institutions, there is. Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's still only one you. There's only one you that can do the things that you do. So don't let no one tell you no different and that you can't do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, be realistic.
Such an inspiring message. Didn't even have to ask them around the floor. Right, guys, I'm going to cut to the audience just for a couple of minutes. I just want anyone here, a couple of people, hopefully the more the better, would you like to share with the rest of the audience what's the biggest challenge or obstacle you faced? I mean, Dominique has given us a few of hers, told us a little bit about her story. Does anyone want to share with us what the biggest challenge you've had to face is to date? Don't be shy. At the Masterclass, we all don't all talk at once as well. Yep, we've got a microphone. Yep.
I had a nervous breakdown when I was 25.
Oh wow.
Back then, so that was over nearly 20 years ago, and at the time it wasn't very much spoken about. It wasn't in the press as much as it is. I was very ashamed, and but nowadays there's the OK to Say campaign and the stigma campaign.
Wow.
But just to let you know, if anybody is suffering with mental health, because I know it's high in education, that don't be afraid to talk about it. Get the support you need, and there is, life at the end of the suffering.
Amazing. A round of applause, please. That's incredible. Anybody else? Yep, we've got somebody else. You guys are going to be a lot fitter by the end of this. Running up and down these stairs. Yeah, amazing. That's incredible. Yep.
I'm 20, I'm from Derby, and 4 years ago you wouldn't expect me to be here today. So I actually left school with no GCSEs. So I left school with E's, E's, F's and U's, ungraded referrals. Ungraded, couldn't get into anywhere. I was down to my knees, gonna try and get, the full-time work, used to work at TK Maxx. They didn't even take me on. So, I got back on my feet. I went back to college, reset my GCSEs, and it was tough, being full of class, full of people that are not very unmotivated, just there because they were told to be there. I was there to try and get my GCSEs, and then third year come, I failed again.
Oh my goodness.
I failed again, I wasn't that smart, wasn't very academic, but then, I then did A-levels. I did my A-levels and then that's it, I wouldn't actually believe I got myself into university now.
That's incredible.
4 years later.
That definitely deserves a round of applause. So, no GCSEs, and now you're sitting in the uni lecture theatre?
Yeah, but also, in relation to your suffering last year, I also had a mental breakdown. So I was hospitalised, went straight into hospital for 3 weeks. I was told that I had to remain in therapy for the next 6 months. I had to make sure that I couldn't see people that were, anywhere affecting my social ability. So basically, saying the fact that, if people kind of get at you too much and they break down, that's what they got told. And I said, you know what, actually, I want to get back up on my feet, I want to go up and I want to actually go out and meet new people, do new things, and it has done, and that was the worst day of my life. It was the worst day of my life, and from that day, I've been motivated since.
That's incredible. That's... I'm not often speechless. Anyone that knows me knows that. But today, so far, that's unbelievable. And I'm sure there'll be somebody somewhere, if not multiple people in this room, that are really inspired by both of those stories. I'd love to take even more. I'm sure there's many other people in the room that have stories of how you've overcome obstacles or faced really, really challenging situations in your life and difficulties. So please, 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 at the end when we're networking, don't hesitate to share your stories as well. It's not just about our speakers today. There'll be someone somewhere in this room that's got loads and loads to gain from what you've got to say. So don't hold back. Tell them about what you've been through, how you've got through it, and that might just be the little catalyst and spark that they need to really press on through whatever it is that they're going through and strive on to success. That's fantastic. Let's please give a round of applause for our amazing speaker, Dominic Walker. Right, so we're going to take a little social media break, so we want everybody to get their phones out. Get your phones out, and just take a few minutes just to tweet us or tweet somebody else or share via social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, something about what you've heard so far. How are you feeling about the event so far? Something great you've heard, a message that you want to say. Maybe if you didn't have the guts to say what your most challenging situation was, you could share it via social media, and we'll get those together. Just tweet us, like us if you want, if you do like us. So just take a few seconds to just share your experience so far, like all the things we hear quite a lot already actually, and let us know how you're feeling and what you think about what you've heard. It's not often you get asked to get your phones out in the middle of a lecture theatre, isn't it? So but we're really, really interested in that feedback. You can message our page, you can tweet us directly at the Masterclass, and we really want to know what you think of everything you've heard so far, how you're feeling. If you've got something to say, that'll be fantastic. Did I leave that with you?
Hi everyone. Are we done? Are we still tweeting? Do you need 1 more minute to finish up what you're typing, or you okay? Are we good? Okay. Just for the next session, I think Jide earlier on talked about, by the way, my name is Joseph. I'll put this up. Hey, okay, I'm going to talk about this. My name is Joseph. I'm also a co-founder of the Masterclass. Jide spoke earlier about the review that we've had from people who've attended the Masterclass. And we're just going to talk briefly about Jamie, or rather, Jamie is going to talk to us briefly. Jamie was one of the guys who came here in February. He had an amazing time. He shared his story, he shared his dreams, his aspirations. And we caught up with Jamie after the event when he came here, and we've been talking, been engaging with him to try to help him shape his ideas. I'm just going to play this video. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here with us, and he's going to explain why he couldn't be here with us. I'm just going to play a video that he sent us, just to say a few things about his Masterclass experience and what his plans are for the future.
Hello, my name is Jamie. I attended the Masterclass in February. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to this one as I'm currently on holiday in LA, but I thought I would send a quick video across just detailing my experience with the Masterclass and what it's led me to today. I attended the Masterclass because I wanted to meet other young, ambitious people and get the opportunity to speak to entrepreneurs. On the website, it said that they want to inspire people to live beyond average and achieve their potential. All the speakers were great, but I clicked the most with Matthew Blanchard. Talked about his tech startup, the hardships that he went through on the way there, and I knew he was the person that I came to see. I took the opportunity during the talks to ask as many questions as possible, and I even got the chance to speak about my ideas in front of everyone that was there. After the talks, we got the chance to have something to eat, and I spoke one-on-one with Matthew for about 15 minutes, asked as many questions as I possibly could. I took his contact information, and we've been in touch ever since. Following the Masterclass, Joseph got in touch with me through LinkedIn. He asked to meet for coffee so that we could speak more about my ideas. So a couple of months later, we met up at a Starbucks in Liverpool, and we had a conversation about my plans for the future and how I was going to achieve them. The conversation really helped. I learned a lot from it, and having the opportunity to speak to someone about my ideas pushed them beyond any point that I'd ever taken them before. Following the conversation, I was inspired to develop my ideas further. I'm now at the point where I'm starting my own society called Circles. The society is for other young, ambitious people to meet regularly, to discuss plans, discuss self-improvement, and start businesses together, act as a network of support, weekly discussions in order to further our ideas and offer advice to each other. If you're interested, I'll leave my email address with Joseph. Go speak to him and get in touch with me. I'm going to organize a meeting within the next month where you can find out more. I'd like to say thank you to Joseph. Thank you to all the volunteers at the Masterclass.
I'd just like to say something about Jamie. How many of you remember seeing Jamie here last time? Jamie is probably one of the most passionate people I've ever met. And I mean that seriously speaking. He's got great ideas, big ideas to make a difference in people's lives. And that is the good thing, we believe, one of the reasons why we put together this platform. You know, there are people who have dreams and aspirations, but you're asking yourself, where do I go from here? How do I kick it up? How do I start? And we as a Masterclass are very passionate about building this platform where we can connect you with industry experts. So I met up with Jamie and we had a great conversation. And ever since we've been in touch to try to think about the things he wants to do, who he could be in contact with, try to help him set up, you know, sessions with people that he could talk to refine his ideas. And it's really incredible to see him on his journey. I truly believe he's onto something really amazing. So if you want to be part of his Circles initiative, come and talk to me, and I can connect you with Jamie if you want to be part of that. Okay. For our next session, we were supposed to have Jessica with us, but in the last minute she fell ill, and she's having to receive medical attention. So we'd like to sincerely apologize that she couldn't be here. Circumstances obviously beyond our control, but we wish her well. Round of applause for Jessica. We're going to have our speakers come to take a seat over there. So this time we're going to spend some time to engage with our speakers to ask them some questions. A round of applause to Emily and Dominique. So this is your chance to engage with them, ask them questions. Obviously we're going to have a time for networking. You can still talk to them one-on-one.
I don't know.
But I'm going to kick off with a question to both of them, and I can pretty much open the floor to every one of us to ask them questions. So it's going to be, first of all, a thank you, by the way, for your amazing interview and speech earlier on. That was quite great. Question to both of you. First question is this: your stories and personal journeys have been incredible to hear, incredible to watch. What motivates you each day to get on and keep on going and just keep on pushing? What is the motivating factor in your lives?
Yeah, go for it. I think for me is having that ultimate goal of where I want to get to with Fitch. I know for a fact that it's going to be a bit of a spirally journey. It's not going to be a direct route, but having that ultimate vision, which I can be like, that's my dream. That's where I want to get it to, keeps me going. And I think it's sometimes really great to just sometimes stop and take check of some of the amazing things that you've achieved, because things will go wrong and things will be hard, but sometimes you're like, okay, well, look how far I've come, and it might be at the beginning of the journey, you might have finished your business plan. That's an achievement. That's amazing. Getting your first, for me, getting my first listing somewhere, that was great, and just being able to take those bits and sometimes not think about the bigger picture and just think about the smaller things is, I think, really important as well.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Dominic?
I think for me, it's two things. I think the first thing is I don't have any choice. For me, it's have a path and to do something in my life or just not. It's as simple as that for me. So that's number one. Number two is my girls. I've got two kids, 5 and 14, 15. She's, teenager. And I believe that I set an example. My mum set an example for me. And she showed me, she had 6 children on her own, and she went to university. She's an honorary doctorate at Liverpool University. She used to raise goats in Jamaica. So that's what she did. So for me, it's do this and set about a life for myself and my kids, and also most importantly for myself, or literally not. I will have to, I won't have anything. So I have to do this. It's almost do this or die. I'm being quite succinct in what I'm saying and quite direct. And everybody's got families and peers around them and support and so on and so forth. But if that's taken away and you don't have that, do it for yourself. That's how I see it.
Do it for yourself.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, I'm just going to open it to the floor. Anyone has any question here for any of our speakers? Yes, I've got a hand there.
My name is David, first year student at John Moores University. I wanted to ask, especially because this program is mainly aimed at black ethnic minority groups and everything. I had a recent discussion on my local radio station, and we were speaking about the barriers in which people who are looking to get into the creative industry or in any industry who are of color, who are of a minority background, and some of the barriers What do you think the barriers are, and how should we combat them?
Before you answer that, I'd just like to say this program is open to everyone. It's not targeted to any ethnic group at all. It's open to students, young professionals, and young adults. Okay? Yeah, go on.
I think in terms of the creative industry, the obvious barrier, and this doesn't matter what industry, so it could be the police, is that you're different. You have a visible difference. So your personality might not be different from the person sitting next to you, but you have a visible difference. So even before you've spoken, and we all do it in terms of how we weigh people up. So I've seen Jide today, I don't know anything about Jide, but I've weighed up a couple of things in my mind about Jide before he's even spoke. No, but that's what we all do. We do it for primal reasons, because we're human beings, and also we do it because of protection, and because we want to understand and relate to the person, and so on and so forth. So we all do it. But as someone of a visible difference, I'm already different before I've even spoken. And then I speak and I'm scarce, and they're like, she's scarce. And then I'll say, you know what, I'm Jamaican. Jamaican too? And I'm like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? So we've already got that as a barrier, number one. And then number two, we could go on in terms of the barriers. We could. Now, it's the institutions that you go into, it's about understanding, do they actually want difference in their spaces? Number one. Number two is, do they want palatable difference? So you're different, but you're the same as them. So you're uniform to the same as them. And it's about understanding even those little things that can assist you in your journey, because here, being black in the UK, you're different anyway. You're a black person in a white space, in a predominantly white country, so you're different anyway, but it shouldn't stop you. And I mean it in the respect of, you know it's there. We can't pretend that it's not really, this doesn't wash you off. Yes, I've got Maybelline 350 on, but you know, it's not tomorrow, and this is it. You know, that's how I wake up in the morning, you know? So it's about understanding that, being realistic and understanding that that is it. And it's just colour in that respect. And it shouldn't stop you. But obviously, in the institutions that we go into, for example, like the police, there are going to be difficulties because you are different, you know, and it's about understanding that there is that difference, and understanding that in some ways, yes, it can hinder you. I've been at DC for almost 10 years. You know what I mean? I'm being completely complicit with you in that respect, you know? If I was a different colour, would I be further on? These are all the questions that you do have to answer and understand. Do I let it stop me? No. Not in the respect of the different things that I know that I'm destined to do. So my PhD, you can't do that. I'm just gone and done it anyway, because I can, you know, but we've also got to factor in financial, you know, the ramifications of financials and how that plays a part. There's different things, your demographic, the fact that you could have just left care, there's a number of different things. So this is why I'm saying about being realistic in the things that you go for, is that yes, we can achieve, and yes, we can have the neoliberal concept that yes, you know, if we just work hard, that we can. No, let's be realistic in what it is that we can do. So if we want to do, for example, we want to work in the media, get a mentor, someone who already works in the industry, and say to that person, yo, how did you do this, this and this? And that's what I did. That's the only reason why I got into ITV, is because my friend worked at BBC, Gunnan. She works on BBC Radio 1, BBC Radio Merseyside. So I spoke to her and said, Gunnan, how did you do it? And she told me how she did it, and then I went and did it. So it's having those little things, and this is a perfect example of networking with different other people as well. Yeah. And it's not just going to obviously arenas like this where everybody looks like you. It's also going into different arenas where you get to network and know other different people as well. But a mentor is a good person who's already, if you want to be an accountant, you go and find the accountant that looks like you and it can assist you, even if they don't look like you, but they're in that position. You ask them what they did to get to that place. So that's how you overcome some of those barriers that are obviously in place. I think I would do a disservice if I was to pretend, and I do this the same with my kids. I ain't going to pretend that this is easy and the things that I do. So I start my PhD next month. That is not going to be easy. You know, it's not. Let's be realistic. But I did my master's the same. So what can stop me other than myself from doing the things that I want to do?
Thank you very much. Before I come back to the audience, a question I'm going to ask Emily now. How scary was the decision to quit your job and start Fitch? How scary was it?
I actually don't know if I thought about it enough. I kind of just did it, and it was kind of like that old motto of seek forgiveness, not permission, and I kind of apply that to generally my life anyway. I actually like to fail at things. I genuinely like to fail at things because it's when I learn the most. Yeah. So for me, I was like, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah. If something goes wrong, then great, I'll learn loads from it. Yeah. But if it all goes great, then great. It was kind of that. I think it's a mentality. If you want to achieve something, and you're so determined to achieve it, you'll find a way of making it happen.
Great. Thank you for that. Question from the audience? Yes, we've got a hand raised here.
Hi, my name is Chadza. I've got a question for Emily. Thank you, Emily, for sharing your story. I guess the question I had was, you talked about, obviously you didn't really know what you wanted to do, where it was going, it was kind of see how it goes. But from the point that you articulated the goal and you knew what you wanted to do, did the goal ever change? Does the end goal ever change? Yes, there's a process, but I think, because for myself, many times I set myself a goal and sometimes I start to articulate it differently, I have new experiences, then it looks a little different, but does the end goal, did the end goal ever change for you, or was it just, I've decided and that's what it's always going to be?
100% changed, yeah. In terms of personally for me, when I was younger I wanted to be a sports physio. I don't know what happened there, but I definitely wasn't becoming a sports physio. And I wanted to be a stunt woman at one point. Again, no idea. But I think if you put yourself out there and you try different things, you'll soon learn what you love and what you don't love, and it'll kind of mold you in the direction of what you want to do and where your passions lie. If you don't try different things, you'll never find that out. In terms of like Fitch and the ultimate goal I have for that, that's kind of came about as a process of like my business plan and looking into things and understanding where it can go and where I think it will go. How that exactly will look might change. Exactly how maybe the brand articulates itself, how I articulate myself, how the things that we end up doing along that way, that might all change, but I have kind of one mission with the company, which is to really challenge people's perceptions of coffee, and that fundamentally is what the company is about, and that won't change. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take another question from the audience before I give one. Yes?
Hello, my name is Mohammed, and my question is for Emily too. You said that you've enjoyed failing things because it's the way you learn. And I've been told that before, that when you do something correctly, like the first time, this means that you do something you already know. But what if failing in these things can affect your current situation or affect what you're going to be doing in the future? So, like, for example, I've failed my English GCSEs last year, and I need to get that to go to uni next year. So I can't really enjoy failing that, although I've learned a lot, but I'm limited with time. So how can you like change that, like enjoying failing, but at the same time don't let it like affect your future or like current situation?
I think sometimes the road might be a longer journey than you first anticipate. I think as humans we'll set ourselves goals and be like, okay, I want to achieve this by, I don't know, next year, and if we don't achieve it by that point, we feel really disappointed ourselves or we feel like we failed. I say the word failure because I never think you fully fail at anything. I feel failure is probably a really bad word in general. I think it's learning and it's developing, and I think if you really want to do something and get to a certain point, then it might take longer, it might be done a bit differently than you first imagined, but if you really have that will to do it, you will get there. For me, similar to this guy who was down here, like I actually was really not an academic person at all. Didn't get the greatest results. I've always kind of thought and did things differently. I was way more kind of social than I was academic. But I knew I kind of needed certain results to kind of get me there. So I ended up, going down the university route, which I'm really glad I did now. But my initial thought wasn't that, and kind of I just knew I needed to do certain things to get to where I wanted to be. So I'd say things will definitely happen. Learn from everything you do, improve on everything you do, but never feel like you've failed at something, so to speak, because if you want something, you'll make it work, and then it wasn't a failure, it was just a learning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And the key there from what you said is to learn from the process, and that's very, very key, very important. Any more questions from the audience? Okay, quick question here.
Sorry, I'm Sam, by the way, but my question is quite similar to what Mohammed was asking. I'm just thinking, you said before, Emily, about how when you had to pour, was it 10,000 cans of coffee down the drain? Yeah. And I was just there like, wow. When that happened, obviously from a financial point in the business side, and you as being the business owner and feeling that weight of that sort of mistake or whatever went wrong, how do you sort of, I suppose, go to bed and wake up the next day to carry on? Because sometimes, you can fail and you can fail a little bit, but that's how did you get over that, I suppose?
There's the huge thing about the early stage in a business is what I mentioned when I was doing the talk was about thinking creatively about how you do things. So you're kind of work at the beginning, kind of for me, I'll set budgets around what I'm going to do something, and then something might go hideously wrong, or something might, I need to pay out something for something else, and that might take my budget from maybe a marketing budget. So then I'll have to be like, okay, what do I then need to change? What can I do differently to kind of do what I want to do? So it's constantly having, and as I was saying about constantly adapting and constantly changing. There's a really brilliant podcast. I recommend everyone listen to it. It's called How I Built This by Guy Raz. And it's all about kind of founders' journeys right at the beginning. And one that I loved was the Airbnb one. And the guys who started at Airbnb tell their story about how when they were first starting out, they racked up so much credit card debt that they had to they were just doing terribly, like really, really badly when they first started out, that they had to come up with an idea of how they could raise a bit of money. And they were like, oh, we're called Air, Bed and Breakfast, so why don't we do something to do with breakfast? So it was during the kind of Obama elections, and Obama was doing a talk in their city, and they decided to come up with some cereal, and they called it Obama Oats, and sold them for like $40 per box and raised £40,000 from it. And that is, I mean, you would never think Airbnb, they did a cereal business at one point, but they sometimes you have to do things so differently, and so not what was on your agenda of what you wanted to do in order to get to where you want to be. And I think a lot of founders will look back when they're successful and be like, actually the beginning part of the journey was the best part, because it was the time where I could think the most creatively and do the most disruptive stuff. Because once you're at scale, it's really hard to change and adapt, because people will be like, what are you doing? But when you're a startup, it's that time to really kind of learn and fail miserably, or learn miserably, should I say, and it's the best time to do it.
Thank you for that. Can I just ask a question there? So are you saying that at that point, you need to also be, in terms of being creative, but be flexible to tweak things around as well? Because obviously, like Sam pointed out, 10,000 cans, that's money.
Yes.
So you're saying you had to look for other ways to be creative with other things that you do in order to accommodate for those kind of failures?
Yeah, 100%. And it might be that that money that we'd kind of put towards potentially doing some kind of campaign that was going to be a paid campaign, then we have to think a bit more creatively and be like, okay, how can we do something that is less money that can still make an impact, and then we can kind of revisit it. Or you're always jiggling around things, and your priorities are constantly doing this all over the place. And it's a big part of it is learning how to juggle all of that in the beginning.
Okay, thank you for that. A question for you, Dominique. You talked about the Anthony Walker Foundation and the fact that, if anyone wanted to volunteer. The question is, if someone did want to volunteer to do something with the foundation, what would they need to do?
Go on the website, AnthonyWalkerFoundation.com.
AnthonyWalkerFoundation.com, that's the website.
Yeah,
okay.
We're on Facebook as well.
Is there a process you need to follow, or just contact you and?
There's I think there's a volunteer form that you have to obviously fill in, but the team will invite you to the organisation, and then they will see if you adapt for the different things that we have to do, because we do a lot of different things within the charity as well. So
I was going to ask the question there, what are some of the projects you're currently doing now, in case anyone wanted to jump in?
We're doing a number of different things. So we've got the hate crime support service, which is our main work that we do. So when people are victims of hate crime, our team will basically almost give a wraparound service in relation to anything. So it could be in contact with the police in relation to what's going on in terms of investigation, and there's things like counselling, target hardening, any sort of support that person needs. So there could be that sort of support that you could give. We've got a number of different community projects as well, so we visit a lot of schools where we deliver packages in terms of anti-racism and hate crime as well, so there's that as well. And then there's just the day-to-day running, because it's a charity, but it's a business as well. So it's about an understanding of how almost charity business can translate to business as well, in the day-to-day as well. So it's about understanding that and also being in that environment, which is a completely different environment if you're new as well.
Okay, thank you for that. Yes, I've got a question. Yeah, round of applause. I've got a hand raised over here.
Hello Emily, hello Dominique.
Hey.
My name's Fidelis, and right now I'm currently in sixth form. So, like you said before, Emily, you have to really enjoy the journey. But for example, let's say, like you said, Dominique, your upbringing, and like you said, you grew up in Highton, and I'm not too far, I'm Toxteth. So, let's say, just the journey is like you always come across people who were friends, and some people that may turn, like, do you know what I mean? So how can you stay focused even though your peers and surroundings may not always be the best? Do you understand? Yeah, like for example, like just being, like you may feel like you're in this group which is the best for you, and they bring happiness and whatever, but then it's not the right group in a way. So how would you know when to fall back? Because some people don't. like some people are self-motivated, some people need others to really help them move forward. So what would you say about that?
So I actually grew up in County Durham, mainly in a very working class area, in a really small terraced house, and there's definitely social kind of challenges that come from not having any money and kind of being in certain areas, and it was very much a kind of working class kind of challenging background that I come from, and everyone's experience is super different. And for me, I think there was a lot of people in my school and lots of groups that I was getting in with that were starting to do things really badly, and lots of drinks, lots of drugs, and all of that side of stuff, and I knew that that was really not the best path for me to go down. One thing that I did was find a sport, actually, that I ended up doing trampoline and all things, so I ended up like taking myself out of certain situations where a lot of my friends would go and meet after school in the field and drink Lambrini. Don't get me wrong, I did do that sometimes, but I would go and I had to go to my sports class and kind of applied myself to something else to get out of those situations. Not always as easy as that, but I think if you are surrounding yourself with the people that aren't impacting your life in the right way or in a positive way, definitely find a way to find people that will motivate you and you can motivate them, because it is just so important, like the network around you, as I'm sure you kind of, like from your experience, surrounding yourself with the right people is really important.
I live in LA, so I live in Toxteth now. I don't plan to stay there forever, but I actually do like where I live. I think in terms of your friends, how old are you now? 18. So you're still quite young. So what I've learned, your friendship group changes as you get older. You'll have some friends that you keep from primary school that you don't really see, but they're still your friends. But your friendship groups will change. And if you stay focused on yourself and the things that you want to achieve, it'll have to change. No matter what you do, your friendship group and your social circle will have to change because of the things that you're doing and what you're striving to do. So it's almost about not you forcing almost people away. The things that you have a focus on, things that you want to do, will make that fall away anyway. And what is it that Drake says, no new friends? That's what he said, isn't it? But it's true in the essence that as you, my daughter would hate me using that. She would be like, you don't even like Drake. Anyway, but as you get older, those things will fall away because of the path that you have. Now, if obviously, you can keep a circle of friends within that, but if your aspirations are not similar, it will fall away anyway, because it'll have to, because of the things that you're doing and where you're going and where you're striving to achieve. So it's about understanding that as you get older, your friendship groups change. It does, it just naturally does that as you get older. And I was always taught that you keep your circle tight anyway. So you can be friends with loads of different people, but you have an inner circle. And that's the best way that I've thought it. And I think our backgrounds, I was raised in Highton, again working class similar to you, Emily, and I live in Toxteth now, and I probably will stay in the Toxteth area, in and around that area as well. And similar to you, I know people who are in the community and mixed up in things, and I'm a cop, I can't, and because of what I do, it has to be, you have to stay over there because I can't differentiate, I can't be your friend in that respect, but that's because of the path that I've set in my way. So it does fall away, and you have to make choices, and sometimes it is hard choices, like, blood, I can't be your friend no more. And it's hard, but it's what you have to do. If you've got a path and a destination and there's something that you want to do, then you can't take those people, some people you can't take with you. And it's hard, but you can't take them all with you.
Thank you very much. I just want to touch up on what you've just said, both of you really. Back to your question. The key word there is, making that choice. In terms of the people you surround yourselves with, I think it's said that you become the average of, is it the 4 or 5 people who you surround yourself with, and that sort of network of people around you is very, very key. And in terms of when you have a clear vision of where you want to go, and then you feel like you're surrounded by people who don't share that vision, you get to the point where you've got to make a choice or make a decision. It won't be easy, but you do it for yourself. I think that's a very good point. Good point to make. I've got a hand raised at the back. I've got one question. I've got another hand over there. Let me take your question here, and I'll come back to that side. Yes.
Hi, it's for Dominique. I'm Chloe. I'm the oldest in my class, and I've got 2 kids. How do you manage to keep everything together and do degrees and masters and PhD, but also
Can you speak closer into the microphone so we can hear you properly?
But also keep the kids happy at the same time, and have you time and study time and kid time and shop time and food time and clean house time and travel time. There's just so much to do. How do you fit it all in?
I'll be completely honest with you. Time management. That is the only way. I'm not as regimental probably as I used to. But I do manage my time. I have to. Some things I can do. In terms of when I was studying, so I'm going to start studying again, so I've had a little break in between Masters and PhD, but not much, so I've had about a year break. I literally had to schedule time, so you can't schedule the kids around that. That's the thing. You can't, because the kids are 24 hours, 365, and then some, and then leap years, and then, so you can't, but everything else you can schedule. So it's about controlling and understanding that. Flexibility with work, understanding that your studies takes priority sometimes over work, and it's difficult because obviously you've got a job to maintain. I'm still full-time and still will be full-time when I do my PhD. So literally it's time management, and some things I have to say no to. So the foundation wants me to go to Bongos Bingo tomorrow. I'm like, I can't because I was here tonight. I need to be home for my kids, So it's priority, almost high, medium and low. That's it, and that's how I've done everything. And in terms of studying, that was difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. It's really tough. The masters pushed me to the limits, and God knows how I'm going to do, but I will do it. But I've had to change my shifts and stuff like that to accommodate the fact that I'm going to have to obviously do my PhD and study. And the way I see PhD is just me writing another book. I wrote my masters, so I can do that. It's just the next phase of it. So it's time management. So if you can understand, it's a business acumen. If you can organise your life the way you organise a business, and that's as strict as you have to be, you can do it, but also you do have to have a support system. Now I haven't really got that. It's me. I am the primary carer for everything. My mum can help now and again, but my mum works a full-time job. My sister was here before. They all work full-time, so it's me on my own looking after the kids. So it's time management and organisation. You have to be organised. My diary is like my Bible, and I sort of stick to it in that respect.
Thank you very much. I had a hand raised over there. I'll take that question.
Hi, my name is Precious, and my question is to Dominique. So, with regards to the projects you've got, is it just towards hate crime? Have you got anything regarding child sexual exploitation, child sexual abuse, and safeguarding?
Not as yet. Not as yet. That's as far. Yeah, we have explored the notions of taking it further into just protecting vulnerable people as a whole, which is what basically I do in my department of the police. But it's something that we don't have the expertise, I feel, yet to take forward. I think we have the expertise in hate crime because it's informed, and the evidence base is myself and my family, and also organisations like the Running Me Trust and so on and so forth. It's informed by that. But for us to go into, like you said, harmful practices and child abuse and stuff like that, we'd have to get the evidence base to be able to do that, and never just do it. Do you know what I mean? Because we'd just be winging it. It's not how I work. So I think if it's something precious that you can bring, you put your hand up. If there's something that obviously, if it's something that someone else can bring, then it's something that we'd explore and do. But at the moment, our premise is mainly hate crime, and to be honest, we started in terms of race hate crime specifically. So we've had to expand and change our vision from the start because it was just for race hate crime when we started.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I've got a question for Emily, and we're going to wrap up shortly. I've got a question for you, Emily. I know you took part recently in a competition organized by Richard Branson's company, Virgin. What's that again? Boom?
Boom, yeah.
Yeah. Can you just talk us through what that was about and what your experience was with that initiative?
Yeah, so they run essentially a program for startups, which is a competition where you can win kind of funding and awareness with Virgin to help grow your business. And the whole premise of it was to gain votes, public votes, and then the kind of votes the top kind of so many companies went through to like a live pitching session, and then there was like a final on it. But yeah, it was actually a funny experience, that one, because this is a kind of an adapting thing as well, and kind of learning from mistakes. They didn't run it very well. They explained at the beginning that a certain amount of companies would go through, and we really pushed, and we ended up coming I think it was somewhere 70 something of them. We thought it was the top 80 companies that went through out of over 1,000 companies, and they changed it right at the last minute, and we've since had a call with the marketing director of Virgin and stuff to apologise for it, but they ended up putting larger businesses into that category. So companies that went through on 3 or 4 votes, whereas we had nearly 900 votes, and so it was all a bit dodgy. But that was a learning from us to kind of, I guess, cross your dots and cross your T's and do your dots something at the beginning, understand what you're doing, understand the exact rules, and that's for me, going forward, I'll definitely make sure that I know exactly what it is, but it was still a really good experience to kind of take part in, and gained a lot of interest with it.
That's fantastic. Obviously, you've got an amazing brand, and by the way, she brought some of our products, so we can get a chance to do a taster later on.
It's pure caffeine. Give you a week.
You've got an amazing brand, and just before we conclude, where do you see Finch going in the next couple of years? What is your vision?
We definitely want to expand into supermarkets and start exporting to more countries. My vision is to open up venues that are really challenging your traditional coffee shops, so a huge move away from the likes of Starbucks and Costas, and actually having almost like a bar environment where you can get soft drinks on draft and rotating kind of soft drinks, almost like you would see in a craft beer bar, but it's a total different experience with coffee, and that's everything that we do is around challenging what you can do with coffee, which by the way is the second largest commodity in the entire world, which I thought was mad, but yeah, that's what we're doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our speakers. Thank you so much. We always like to ask this question just before we conclude. So what will you do? You have ambitions, you have dreams for yourself. Maybe you're stuck, you don't know how to carry on. Or maybe you don't know how to start. But we're hoping that tonight you've heard something that probably ignites something in you. The thought that your dream is possible. That whatever you set your mind to do, you can do it, whatever it takes. Perhaps that is where you are now. The question is, what will you do? Leaving this place tonight, as we go away, as we network, as we eat, you're going to be asking yourself, so what am I going to do? What actions will I take from today to get myself aligned to that vision? And that's a challenge we want to leave with every one of you. Don't just listen and say, yeah, that was good, but do something. Take your dreams, do something with it. And when you do that, who is to say where you're going to find yourself? It's been a great pleasure to host you tonight. Just before we go, we'd just like to say a few words of thanks. This event would not have been possible without the partnership and cooperation and sponsorship of Liverpool John Moores University. Is anyone here from LGMU who is in the hall? Staff, I mean, staff? Any staff from LGMU? So we've got people that are there. Please give a round of applause. That's Holly. Holly. I need to say a few words about Holly. Holly made what you're going to experience here tonight possible. And we owe her a huge, huge thanks. Please, another round of applause for Holly. She was absolutely fantastic. In helping organize the food, the drinks, she was quite, she really helped us and she made it happen. So thank you for that. We also want to thank our volunteers. We call them champions. So can we have our champions please stand up? A round of applause for our champions. I just want to say a few things. You can sit down. You can sit down. I just want to say a few things about these guys. So these guys are either they're universities or they're working professionals, and they give their time to organize these events. They give their resources, they give their ideas to make this happen. Some of them are, we have engineers, we have people who are studying law, we have people who are experienced in different areas. We have bankers, we have business consultants in our team. So again, feel free to come and engage with us and talk to us because we could also share our own experiences with you. But thank you so much to our champions for making each and every event possible. A round of applause for them again. And obviously, we want to thank you for turning up. Okay, give yourself a round of applause. Thank you. We really appreciate the presence here. And obviously, we're not going to let you go without something to eat. So we're going to go, the food is on the ground floor, where pretty much where you had refreshments initially. So we're going to go over there for some refreshments. I just want to encourage you to talk to someone you don't know. Find someone you don't know. Talk to our speakers, obviously they are going to be around. They're going to engage with you. Find someone you don't know and talk to. Please don't go away. There's a lot of food for us to eat. Let's use that time to talk and engage and get to meet someone else. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Have a good evening.